On is adding a new race day shoe to their lineup, the Cloudboom Strike. The shoe uses a unique midsole construction to give you more cushion underfoot, but can it still push the pace? I've done a handful of runs in the shoe. I'm ready to give you my first impressions. Just a quick disclaimer though, that On did send me these shoes for review, but all my thoughts and opinions are my own. Anyways, let's dive into the specs. The stack height is 40mm in the heel and 36 in the forefoot with a 4mm heel to toe drop. The weight comes in at 7.5 ounces. The price is $280. And I put this in the carbon plated racer category. Alright, now let's talk about what's new here in the shoe overview. The upper uses a minimal one-piece transparent mesh with very little padding on the tongue or heel. The midsole uses a Helion HF drop-in midsole called the Bounce Board. That provides the majority of the cushioning. Underneath that is a bottom-loaded carbon plate and some more Helion HF. The outsole has thin but grippy rubber patches in the forefoot and heel to keep the shoe light and fast. So I think the upper is the thing on this shoe that's going to have the people most divided. It's definitely a lower volume, kind of more snug fitting racing style fit to it, but I personally enjoyed this. I thought the length was true to size, and there definitely wasn't any extra room in there, but I liked that kind of snugness to it. I think the biggest issue though is with this heel collar. So this kind of suede-like material around the Achilles mixed with kind of a tough edge and seam right here caused hot spots and blisters and bleeding on my Achilles. So after a couple runs, I decided to put a strip of duct tape on there, and that helped reduce the friction. I also have been using some blister resistant socks, and that has really helped with these as well. So besides that, another annoying thing is the laces. Like, why are these so long, especially in a shoe that's already pretty low volume? You don't need a ton of extra laces to be able to crank them down, so they just kind of get in the way and flop around. But that's an easy fix, just swap those out. I personally might put an extra pair of Alphafly laces on these. I think that would be a good fit. Now let's talk about the ride of the Cloudboom Strike. Just kind of looking at it, it doesn't look like there's a ton of cushion under there, but that is deceiving because of the bounce board midsole really does pack quite a bit of foam in there, and it feels nice and bouncy and protective underfoot, and definitely helped save my legs on longer runs. So typically normal shoes will have a sock liner, they'll have the top layer of foam, a carbon plate, and the bottom layer of foam. But for this shoe, in order to get as much Helion HF underneath your foot as possible, they removed the sock liner and the strobel board, and they have the drop-in bounce board midsole. So because of this, the carbon fiber plate sits pretty low in the shoe underneath that bounce board. So it is a bottom-loaded plate, kind of sits like right above the outsole, and I think this helps still firm up the shoe, and you honestly don't notice the plate much. You just feel that cushion, or at least I do personally. But I do think it kind of lacks some of that extra pop with the kind of more traditional setup where the plate's a little bit higher up. But overall, after I dealt with the blister issue, I really enjoyed running with a shoe, kind of no matter the pace or the distance. It always felt fast and lively and protective. Now let's go ahead and do a couple quick comparisons. The first shoe I'm going to compare the Cloudboom Strike to is On's other racer, the Cloudboom Echo 3. This shoe has a more traditional setup with that top layer of foam, the plate, and then the bottom layer of foam. I thought that the uppers were pretty opposite here, with this one being more high volume and the Cloudboom Strike being more low volume. Another big difference between them is the drop. The Cloudboom Echo has a 10mm, while we have that 4mm on the Strike. And personally, I thought that the Cloudboom Echo 3 was a little bit snappier, a little bit faster. It's something that I enjoyed more for 5K, 10K pace, while I would lean towards the Cloudboom Strike for more those half marathon, full marathon paces. I think they both sit in On's lineup kind of like a Vaporfly, Alphafly situation, with the Cloudboom Echo kind of being more like the snappier Vaporfly, and the Cloudboom Strike being a little bit more like the unique cushion Alphafly. So speaking of the Alphafly, I'm going to compare the Alphafly 3 to the Cloudboom Strike. They both have unique midsole elements with those air zoom units in the forefoot of the Alphafly and that drop-in midsole, the bounce board of the Cloudboom Strike. I think they both have very cushioned, fun rides to them. I do think that those AirPods add a unique springiness and bounce to the Alphafly, but either way, I don't think you can go wrong with them. They're both kind of in my top 3 marathon racers for this year. So I wasn't quite sure what to expect from the On Cloudboom Strike with its kind of unique midsole makeup here, but I actually really enjoyed it. I loved the feel underfoot, that bounce, without having a ton of bulk in there. So this is a shoe that I would definitely race a half marathon or full marathon in, as long as I have that duct tape in my blister socks. But it's not something I would pick up per se if I'm trying to get like a 5K or 10K PR where I want something super snappy and fast. I just don't get that same snappiness as I do from like the Cloudboom Echo 3. Overall though, I think that this shoe just shows that On is getting serious about their running shoes and their racing shoes specifically. Have you tried the Cloudboom Strike? If so, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Did you have any issues with the Achilles? Did you like the midsole setup? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep on running.